Well, hello, Northeast Oklahoma District Church of the Nazarene pastors and lay leaders. I wanted to give you a quick update on the Newstart ministry of the Northeast Oklahoma District Church of the Nazarene. In 2019, 3,000 new churches were started across all denominational lines, which is good news. The bad news is 4,500 churches closed. For every church that was closed, that's one less place where families can gather to worship. It's one less place for compassionate ministries to serve those in need. And it's one less place the gospel is being proclaimed. So that means we have our work cut out for us. In Northeast Oklahoma, the Newstart Ministries really wants to focus on a few areas. One, of course, is starting new churches. The second is restarting churches. And third, we want to help with revitalizing churches with conferences and coaching and new material. But the reason I'm giving you this report today is because I want to celebrate what God is doing in Northeast Oklahoma District. We're going to hear an update from one of our church planters. We're going to hear an update from one of our restart churches, and then we're going to hear the exciting vision of a new start church that is already birthed. We currently have 2 families in the developmental pipeline getting prepared to start 2 new churches. Here's the update from what God is doing.
Yeah, so we started in January of 2016. We officially kicked off, and part of the reason we really wanted to start Kaleo was we had very little influence, I'd say, in North Tulsa. And I grew up in North Tulsa around this area, Pine and Harvard. I lived for a while and felt called back to this area. There's 100,000 people that lived in North Tulsa, and we had 2 buildings, but both weren't being used a whole lot. But so we wanted to plant and come and impact this community. One of the great things when we first started was, and I don't think I realized this in the beginning, but it was great because not only did my home church, Regency, where I was a youth pastor for 8 years, they sent a bunch of people with us, they sent a good amount of money with us, they covered half my salary for the first year, and then the district has done some amazing things. They gave us a stipend as we started to kind of seed the church as we got started. I don't know how we would have done it without it, honestly. I know a lot of churches that plant and they start out in a house and it takes years and years and years to grow. And here we have this building, we have the support monetarily, we have had the support for a long time of people that came with us and were helping us out as we built the church. And how can you pass up a free building where you get to come and do ministry? I mean, we have a gym that we do basketball nights in that I love. We have a kitchen that we're able to serve food and do things like that. We've seen some amazing things. We've seen the diversity of this community come together. We've seen people get healed and delivered, salvations, baptisms, all kinds of stuff. It's been really neat. We started a Celebrate Recovery ministry at Kaleo that meets on Saturday nights that we love. It's been really fruitful, not only for our Saturday nights, but a lot of those have started coming on Sunday morning. But it's been awesome, and it's been such a blessing, and I'm so thankful for our district family and for my parent church, for Regency Park, as they helped us plant. It's just been an amazing experience. So for me as a church planter, some of the things I didn't expect was the in and out of church. Even as a youth pastor, you saw some people that would come in and out, but as a pastor, it was really hard for me not to take that personal. 2 or 3 of our leadership team are homegrown people that have grown into those roles that when they first came, I don't know if they would have thought that, and we probably wouldn't have thought that, but it's been amazing to see people just grow into that. If I could go back and do something different in the beginning, I would have totally focused on leadership development within our church. And I think that's key, because not only will they be able to lead within our church at Kaleo, but then I know God will use them and send them out to lead in other places, perhaps to plant churches, or to be a part of another ministry that needs help.
The story of the way of Jesus the Nazarene Church here in Coweta actually started in 1965 when it was originally planted. Betty Cox's parents, the Cassidys, was part of the families, the three families that came together that launched the church. And it had been a functioning church to about 7-8 years ago. We endured a fire. And after the fire, it came to our attention while I was pastoring at Central that there was a desire to have the Coweta family become a part of extension of the Central family. So we did that for about a year. And then during this time, it became very evident to Rhonda and I that God was moving us. We had been at Central for 8 years, but we knew that God was getting ready to close one chapter and open another chapter. Now, in some ways, it was incredibly difficult because some of the finest people I have ever been a part of and pastored were many of the family members there at Central Church of the Nazarene. And so really Central really took this assignment on and paid my salary and made it possible for Rhonda and I to be a part of the Coweta family. For the first time in my life, I'm bivocational. But I knew this was what God wanted for us. We have relocated here on 8 acres. We're building a phase 1, which is an 80 by 80 building, 6,400 square feet. And they're putting in 400 units between here and the interstate, with the possibility of up to 1,000 units. This is a direct result of a district sacrificing collectively to invest in something that we believe someday is going to be one of the great churches on the Northeast Oklahoma district. And to that, Rhonda and I are deeply grateful.
I coached basketball for a very long time. I was women's basketball at Boise State and then on to Utah State from there. And so basketball was always my family's life, and that's how we always lived life. And our contract wasn't renewed, and so at a certain time we felt God was calling us to maybe do something different. When coronavirus hit, all the athletic departments shut down, and so we had no job opportunities at that time. And so through prayer, my wife and I were just talking about, do we want to wait for things to go back to whatever normal is and apply for the usual job that we do for basketball, or through prayer, or is God calling us to something else? So we looked for some land and an opportunity to build a home for our 6 children. We were able to come to Cushing Church of the Nazarene through the help of Dr. McKellips and Pastor Mark Smith, who was the pastor at that time at Cushing Nazarene. And we were helping out with family ministries, and it was good, and we enjoyed the people. Ultimately, the church did close down within a few months of our arrival, and so then we were approached about doing a plant church out of that building. And so we prayed about it for months, and that's kind of where Kinetic Church began. And then from speaking with Pastor Ronnie and Pastor Brad and Dr. McKellips, just spoke with a lot of really truly godly men about vision and direction for church. And so through all of that, we're excited about having a new church in an old building in a community that has so much need. Kinetic Church is something that's been on our hearts because kinetic, of course, means movement, and it means action and activity. And for me as a basketball coach for so long, God's put it on my heart, honestly, through the last 3 or 4 years, that as a Christian, I've got to do more than what I've been doing in an active, tangible sort of way.
So here at Kinetic Church, we have a group for moms of all ages and stages. We call the group Tribe. It's a safe space for these moms to come together and to encourage one another and support one another in their Christian walk, even if they don't know they're there yet. We have a diaper bank that we are supporting through loving donations from our community and from our church. Diapers aren't covered by any government assistance programs, and so women and families who at the end of the month don't have enough to cover their diaper needs, they don't get any assistance from any government programs. So diaper banks are very important. to help those families get through the end of the month.
Those are just snippets of what God is doing. To hear the full interview, I need you to check out the Northeast Oklahoma District Facebook page over the next few weeks. We're going to launch each one of those interviews in their entirety, and I know they're going to be a blessing to you. Lastly, August 22nd is Newstart Sunday. Every church will have a short video of everything that's happening with our Newstart ministry, and there'll also be a card where you can commit to praying for all of our Newstart churches. This is going to be a district-wide campaign where we financially invest in helping start, restart, and revitalize new churches.